Hello and welcome to Fresh Face Comics, the comic book podcast where a lifelong comic book reader guides his friend through the world of comics for the first time. My name is Joey Morgan, the aforementioned lifelong reader. With me, as always, is Jacob Licklider, the aforementioned newbie.
Tonight, the part of Jacob will be played by Clayface.
Clayface! And joining us to talk about Harley Quinn, HBO Max's DC Universe's Harley Quinn, we have our friend Marcus Cotton.
I am this podcast's reckoning.
And look, I don't think it's going to be a super long episode. I just have to talk about this show because I fucking love this show.
It's a great show.
Like, I don't know. I'm kind of pissed at myself for like not getting around to it for so long. I had first watched this just like middle of last year, like July, August-ish, and I was just so pissed at myself. I was like, oh my god, it's so good. Why haven't I watched this before? And take this, I guess, as a warning to those listening. We're mostly going to be talking spoilers. We're going to be light on spoilers to start with. But it's a spoiler-filled discussion on the nature of the show. Like, the nature of the show requires that we describe specific scenarios, so we need to sort of go all in on that kind of stuff. So if you haven't seen the show, watch it. It's fantastic. And then come back to us or just listen to us, whatever you want to do. I'm not your mom. I don't know. You don't need to listen to me. But yeah, very excited to talk about this. We've seen all the episodes, including the most recent Valentine's Day special, which we'll also be dedicating some time to. I'm assuming more towards the end of the episode.
We may or may not give this episode a sequel when more of the show comes out.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I'm sure season 4 will get its own episode. So yeah, we will talk about that. What is this? Our 7th bonus episode now?
Yes. And our first bonus episode of 2023.
Oh, that is true. That is true. Our last one came out very late 2022. So very happy to have this here. So I guess opening up our conversation, would we rather do talk about the cast of the show, or we want to get into Twitter questions first?
Let's do Twitter questions first.
Yeah, let's do the questions first.
Okay, sounds good. Starting off with a more comment than a question. Our friend Jamie at Jamie_season7 says, "I really should get around to watching past season 1." Absolutely, Jamie, you should.
Yes.
Yeah, you have to. If nothing else, I mean, like, season 3 is easily the best one yet, and it only gets crazier from past season 1. So yeah, absolutely watch it. Our friend English Giraffe at English_Giraffe says, genuinely love this series a lot. Has some great comedy. Anything to do with King Shark, Clayface, Gordon is hilarious. But there's also some really sweet moments too, like Harley and Ivy. Season 1 and 3 are just great. Need to catch up with the Valentine's Day special. My question is, if you've read the tie-in comics alongside the show, the Eat Bang Kill Tour and Legion of Bats. Me personally, I have read the Eat Bang Kill Tour, and I read the first 2 issues of Legion of Bats. I think I'm just gonna wait for the trade for the rest of that. But I enjoy them. I think sometimes the comics do sort of fail to capture the exact voices of the show. It's only because it's being written by someone that doesn't write for the show. But I do really enjoy them. They carry a really fun energy with them. The same energy of the show is there, and it's very much enjoyable. I don't think either of you have read them.
I have not.
Honestly, seeing that tweet was the first time I learned there were tie-in comics.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Though it's DC, so I shouldn't be surprised.
Well, yeah, fair enough. So Eat Bang Kill Tour takes place between seasons 2 and 3, and Legion of Bats, which I believe is still coming out, is between seasons 3 and 4, and the upcoming season 4. So yeah, they're fun. They're fun.
I mean, there's no reason we couldn't cover them someday as a separate bonus episode with season 4 or something.
That is true. That is absolutely true. Yeah, and they're good. Not absolutely essential to watching the show, though. But I enjoy them. And then our last set of Twitter questions come from our friend Mason at the GD256. His first question is, what is your favorite and least favorite episode of the show? Who would like to take that away?
Well, I know, Marcus, you have a favorite episode.
Yes, mine is the season 3 episode, Joker, the Killing Vote. And we'll talk about that more when we get into spoilers.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a least favorite?
Yes, and I'm not saying it's bad, but I will explain my big problem with it because it's not really spoiler it. My least favorite is the first episode, Till Death Do Us Part, just because it falls into that trap of, hey, we're an animated show for adults. watch us be edgy and raunchy for no other reason than to be edgy and raunchy. The
That's
rest of the series
interesting.
mellows out and finds its footing, but episode 1 it just really falls into that trap.
Huh. I don't think I have a least favorite, but honestly, I really love the first episode. I don't think it's any like particularly any more like vulgar or raunchy than the rest of the show. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't catch that. Jacob, any thoughts on that?
Well, I do actually have a least favorite episode, and it's an episode of season one. It's episode 10, Bensonhurst.
Okay.
Um, not
Oh,
because it doesn't like, not because it doesn't like do like a total awful things, but I really don't like the A plot of that episode a lot. Like in the way that it portrays itself, it's almost kind of off from the rest of the show while also doing something that's important. Like not that it's bad.
Huh.
Um,
Because that's the stuff with our family, right?
yeah.
yes.
See, I really like that. I mean, to be fair, like there's very little of this show that I don't like. So I don't have a least favorite. That's really interesting. Both of your
I,
choices are really
I
interesting.
think here's the problem though for at least favorites is because of recency bias. Um, either um the penultimate episode of season three,
Ooh, yeah,
um,
yeah. Jazza
Climax at
Pajizza.
Jazzapajizza.
Yeah, that's it.
or the Valentine's Day special. Like,
Valentine's Day special is so fucking good. Um, I think you both of you know this. My favorite episode of the show is it's a Swamp Thing. It's definitely my Vertigo bias, but also Music Meister content. So you know,
Oh,
this is true. I will say I think this is a show that like each season is better and more put together than the last.
that's interesting
Like,
because I do
see,
think I prefer season 1 to 2.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I feel like there's a slight dip in season 2. Not too bad. Season 2 is still great, but I do think
Oh
it's
yeah,
the
I love
weaker.
season 2. I think season 2 pulls its punches a bit, compared to like how hard seasons 1 and 3 go. Like 3 especially. 3 goes so fucking hard in its
And
content.
also, I feel like it's because season 2 is doing two different things. I feel like by the end of season 2, the fact that the first half of it was an adaptation of No Man's Land is completely forgotten.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
I mean, that's true,
Um,
but I really like the way season two especially ends.
I agree. Yeah, I do love that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's I don't dislike any seasons. Like I said, there's very little of this show I don't like. But yeah, season 2 is probably about like the only dip I would say that there is as a whole, but I still love it. It's really great. Mason's second question says, was there anything about the show that surprised you? Maybe you liked a character you thought you'd hate. Which is a really interesting question for me, especially, I guess, because I I think I'm just like so open to the DC universe that I don't think I hate any characters. So there's no I guess there's no character that like, turned out to be a star that surprised me or anything. Um, Although I guess the closest that I would come to that would be God, what's his name? Shit. Cyborgman. He's a character that was created for the Amanda Connor Harley Quinn run back in the New 52, and was one that like I found funny in the comic, but I was like, he's fine, I guess. But in this show, he's played by Jason Alexander, and he is so insanely funny. I absolutely love him. Really great stuff there. Anyone else for that question?
Um,
I
for for
Oh,
me,
go
the
ahead,
character.
Marcus.
Yeah, sorry. The character I was most worried about because before I actually watched the show, I saw compilation clips on YouTube, and the character I was most worried about that I ended up loving was actually Clayface. Just because in general, in fiction, I really don't like the actor stereotype, and
Mm.
that's what it felt like Clayface was, but it's done really well.
Yeah, yeah, and Alan Tudyk is just so fucking funny. I adore him. Yeah, he's brilliant. Jacob?
You know what? It's a character who I know features in the Tom King run of Batman somehow, but Kite Man,
Kite
like,
Man, yes, hell yeah.
like, so like, and this was like almost steps and like steps up and down because like I was like with season one, I'm like, ooh, they make him really kind of sympathetic. He's fun,
Mhm.
but then you see where season two goes, where
Yeah,
season two kind of was always going to go, and I'm like, oh, I really hope they don't fuck this plot line up.
yeah, and
And
poor Kite
Yeah,
Man. Like
no,
you
just
genuinely feel
like
bad for him, I think.
yeah, and even by the end of season 2, I love that just Kite Man is just a complete rejection of toxic masculinity.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah, like it's I don't know. I love that the show in the end, of course, does go for Harley and Ivy together, but I genuinely enjoy Ivy's time with Kite Man. Yeah, some of my favorite scenes in the early parts of the show are just them together. It's really great stuff. And then Mason's last question, and our last question for our Twitter segment, is King Shark in this or King Shark in the Suicide Squad? Two very different portrayals, but both comedic portrayals, oddly enough. Marcus, have you seen the Suicide Squad?
I have not.
Okay, interesting. Do you know like anything about his portrayal in that?
Just that he's voiced by Sylvester Stallone.
Okay, gotcha. Jacob, I know obviously you've seen both. What are your thoughts on that?
I prefer him in this,
Mm,
probably because he's more of an active character that like has like a fully fleshed out arc and isn't just comedic relief.
mm.
Um, it also, I mean, I don't know how King Shark is generally portrayed in the comics. I
I mean,
imagine.
nowadays especially he's used more comedically, but even like as far back as I would say like early New 52, people were like using him as a comedic character. Um, but
Also,
yeah, yeah, it's not too far off, just obviously more exaggerated here and in the Suicide Squad.
also in this, he's just so damn adorable.
Oh my God, yeah.
Like I remember when he made his debut and he pulled out his laptop and then he put his little glasses and I was just like,
Right.
oh.
And he's played by Ron Fuchs. Fuchs? I don't know how do you pronounce that? Fuchs? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
I apologize. But yeah, he's great. He gives like so much charm to the character. He's really great. All right, I guess that about does it. I want to talk about the cast briefly of this show, um, both in its regular cast and the insane guest stars they get for this thing. Um, but
My
first,
God, the guest cast of this show, like,
oh yeah. But first I wanted to mention, I remember because I said that I had waited a really long time to actually get around to watching this show. I waited I just watched it the middle of last year, and it had been on obviously for a couple of years already at that point. And I remember the reason that I had not gotten around to it for so long wasn't because of like the way the show's being done or the fact that it was more of a comedy than anything. I was initially really turned off by the idea of Kaylee Cuoco as Harley Quinn, because it's Kaylee Cuoco. She's not going to give your traditional portrayal of Harley Quinn, and she doesn't. But there's something about it that totally works, and I can never quite put my finger on it.
well, I think
I think it's because it is so different from your traditional Harley Quinn.
Mm.
what it is she's not trying to be Arlene Sorkin. Like,
Yeah,
she is taking this character, a character she clearly appreciates and likes, and is making it her own.
Which is very much in
as,
line with the show because the show is about Harley Quinn becoming her own person.
as well as probably showing up to a lot of people who are, say, jaded with the Big Bang Theory as a media property.
That is
Yeah,
true.
like
That is
I
true.
remember when Harley Quinn was first announced, like when the trailers came out, like Cuoco was the thing that got the most pushback.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, I'm I'm ashamed to admit I was one of those people. I was like, oh God, fucking Kaylee Cuoco, are you serious? But
But when
I'd watched her
here's
in
the
The
thing,
Flight Attendant since, and that's a great show. She's awesome in that. And
she has
obviously
actual
here,
good comedic talent, and like The Big Bang Theory is probably like one of my like least favorite shows that I've ever seen anything from. Like, I haven't like watched it like all the way through, but I've seen like random episodes, and every time there's an episode,
I feel
I
like Big Bang Theory as a show is so restrictive of the genuine talent that they have on there. You know,
I mean,
And
the
I mean,
cast
just
is
the acting talent, I should say, like the people acting in the show, the main cast are
and I
all
mean, I
great.
just the thing that always got me about the Big Bang Theory is like I don't know where I first heard this, but it's a perversion of nerd culture. Like that is not nerd culture that's being portrayed.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I do love Coco in the role. She's awesome. On the rest of the cast, our second main star is Lake Bell as Poison Ivy, who I just adore the portrayal of. She gives this really dry humor to Pamela Isley, and I really enjoy it every
And
time I
just
hear it.
like I love that she's the straight woman. Like everyone else is bouncing off these crazy ideas and or doing all these crazy things and she's just like rubbing her temples and sighing and going, "You fucking idiots."
Yeah, yeah. Which again,
Like
also,
I've come to really appreciate a good straight man in comedy. And Ivy is that for this series.
Absolutely, yeah. Which also makes it really funny too, because Lake Bell does get those moments too, when Ivy is allowed to like act out as a character and have those moments of excitement or anger, and it makes those moments even more enjoyable because she is the straight woman most of the time. Um, and then I meant, oh sorry, go ahead.
I'd also say it's really interesting for Ivy as a character because Poison Ivy as a villain is like in the modern day is kind of hard to write.
Mhm.
Like doesn't really have a whole great like all that great of a place considering, obviously like the character originates in sort of like the immediate post Batman 66 of let's just do villain with a theme. So lady who controls plants and does
Yeah,
plant-based crimes.
yeah.
And the
Go
way
ahead.
that's evolved is fascinating and interesting, but is hard to make like in 2023 where we have, climate change is a thing.
Yeah, which is something they point out too. It's like, oh yeah, well, you could pull off one of your plant crimes, and she's like, yeah, sure, if saving the environment is still considered a crime, whatever, you know. It's just like I love that. Um, yeah, we genuinely call that out, and we give Ivy, I think, a new purpose in this show. I mentioned it briefly earlier, but Alan Tudyk plays a menagerie of roles in this show. The two big ones, of course, being Clayface, who you mentioned already, and his portrayal of the Joker. I find fascinating. Um, because he's not doing any sort of impression. He's not trying to be like any other Joker out there. Certainly no
The
Joker. Certainly no
design
Joker that I know.
the design it changes in flashbacks too, which is very interesting to like sort of mix between like portrayals. Like the two big ones that I see the design shifting from is obviously Heath Ledger and
Mhm.
um Jared Leto.
Yeah,
Um uh Whereas you have Tudyk's performance kind of being an amalgam of like every portrayal of the Joker. And I know Marcus loves the character arc that they give him because they give him a character arc.
Yeah, it's insane. It's like they give a redemption arc to the Joker and it works,
it
but they
totally
never write
works.
him out of character.
No, yeah, yeah. It's a yeah. I love the way he's portrayed in this, and as said before, like Alan Tudyk is an insane talent and should be absolutely everywhere in the entertainment industry right now. We talked about King Shark already. We got to talk about Tony Hale as Doctor Psycho, um, who is probably the strangest addition to the main cast. You know, like, he's a character you don't hear about too much, and he's thrown in here like as the comedic character that he should be, and then ends up becoming a villain about like halfway through the show, like a genuine villain, like one of the villains of antagonists of the show.
Well, I
Um,
mean, it helps that he was never really like he never really fit in for good reasons because they portray him as a massive sexist,
yeah,
which again somehow works.
yeah,
Like he loses any his credit. So the universe that this show sets up is also just fascinating because it kind of just sort of takes ideas and runs with them. Like the Legion of Doom is an actual organization.
yeah. They have like
Like
memberships like the Justice League, and it's just like, oh
yes,
yeah,
Or
like
like you have the Wendy Williams parody, Tawny.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I
um
love that. I love the way that he like interacts with that. And actually, funnily enough, I got to talk about I'm jumping ahead of myself a bit because he's not like a regular, but fucking Giancarlo Esposito is Lex Luthor in this show.
God.
And again, first off, great casting. I love that. And he has like the perfect voice for it. But on the way that like the Legion of Doom is portrayed in this, like I love that he's just like, oh, he Lex Luthor is the genuine businessman that he is. He's just actually running an evil organization now.
And
so
then like
yeah.
and then like in later episodes they introduce the whole thing with his cat, which is hilarious. Like he's got a
Yes.
bassinet for it.
Yeah. I love it. Oh, he's so good. And of course, Giancarlo Esposito is just another insane talent that should be everywhere.
Yeah, no, but
Um,
it's also like I want Giancarlo Esposito to have the chance to play Lex Luthor straight in something.
oh, absolutely.
Like
Yeah. He'd
of
be
all the
so
actors
good.
who play their roles here, the two actors I want to see given the chance to play it straight are Giancarlo Esposito and Christopher Maloney.
Yes. Okay, so I was gonna bring him up soon anyway. Christopher Maloney, who first off, I think I only knew from Man of Steel. Um, he's the dude that gets killed by Feora towards the end, and or I guess kills himself along with Feora. And he's Commissioner Gordon in this, and the portrayal of Gordon throughout this, I think is hilarious. Just the Gordon that which is something that's happened in the comics too, Gordon with a failing marriage, and just totally down on his luck, but they take it to the extreme here.
Well,
um
it's very much like this is a show that knows when to really exaggerate and make characters different enough from their comic counterpart. And Gordon's like the perfect example of this. No, Gordon's a corrupt, awful cop.
mhm.
Um, because that's who Christopher that's who James Gordon probably would be in the real world. Let's be honest.
Hey, you're probably right, but hey.
I
um
It saddens me, but it's true. And but Gordon's also just this total idiot in the show.
mhm.
Like everything bad that happens to him is his fault, essentially.
Yeah.
And it's perfect.
um
Um, and by the end of the first season, we have already had one Gordon episode where he's trying to build the confidence in himself in one of the best episodes of the show in general. You're a
you're talking
damn
about
good
the
cop.
I was
You're a
gonna
damn
say
good cop,
Cop
Jim
Jim
Gordon.
Gordon.
you're
Which
talking
we
about
will.
the Clayface hand, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Voiced by Tom fucking Kenny.
Yeah.
Um,
Which is so funny because it was just one of those moments where I was like, oh man, the person voicing Clayface's hands, he sounds like SpongeBob. Oh fuck, that's Tom Kenny.
it's like, yeah, because it's SpongeBob.
He's just doing the SpongeBob voice.
Um, and he just falls down a hole. Like there are bits where he's riding a tank and
Yeah.
wants to control like all of Batman's gadgets.
So
Uh,
good.
Just like one
Um
of my favorite moments again is from the Killing Vote, because like for over a decade Christopher Maloney was actually one of the leads in Law and Order, so they kind of give him a joke about that. It's like two-faced crimes like this are considered especially heinous.
that's why they made that joke.
that
Okay.
that makes sense. That makes sense. Um Another regular on the show that I absolutely love, and an original character for the show, Frank the Plant, played by JB Smoove.
Who is
Um,
just Audrey 2 from Little Shop of
he's
Horrors.
that's all he is. And Little Shop is one of my favorite films and just plays of all time. I love it. I just love the way it's portrayed here. He's literally doing like the same kind of voice. It's the same portrayal. When he has
He's the devil on the shoulder.
yeah, he he just wants
They
chaos.
established that like early on, like episode 2, after the whole Howie Mandel thing. It's like, Harley, don't do this. Please do that shit.
Yeah,
And the question is, whose shoulder is he on? He is on like everyone's
he's
shoulder at some
everybody's
point.
shoulder, especially the ones that don't have angels to counteract him.
He's on the audience's shoulder at points.
There are times when you agree with him. You're like, please, yeah, you're right. Do what he says, please. I want to see how that turns out.
Also, give him more weed because the image of a plant smoking weed is
I
hilarious.
fucking love that. Oh my god, yeah. And then also, not only is he fucking hilarious, but is like one of those pivotal plot points of late season 3 too.
Oh.
So like, I don't know, I just love that he's a genuinely useful character at the same time.
I mean, season 1 as well. Like, he's the one who finds Harley during the events of Bensonhurst.
That's true. That's true.
And you get the image of him driving a car.
Yeah. And of course, I got to mention. I just want to bring up like 2 or 3 more before we start moving into the individual seasons. I got to talk about Dietrich Bader as Batman, um, who, I mean, again, a comedic portrayal of the character, but also a portrayal of the character that genuinely understands the character. Um, I think especially to the late season 3 episode, Batman Begins Forever, where you genuinely delve into Bruce Wayne's psyche, and it's hilarious, as the show always is. It's always making you laugh, but also in so many ways, so often this show completely understands the DC universe more than so many other portrayals of these characters, and I find that fascinating.
I think it's also fascinating about just the show and its humor that, like, despite it being, adult animated comedy, which let's all be honest, Marcus said it earlier, has a tendency to be very edgy, um, because of shit like South Park and Family Guy. But where it directs his comedy for like 95% of the show is never like it's never like denigrating itself. It's still like, okay, we're playing at least the base material straight. We will make fun of the material quite a lot. We will break the
Hmm.
fourth wall. We will make every character bar Poison Ivy not the straight man. This show
Yeah,
has one straight man, and it's Poison Ivy.
yeah. It's great.
I mean, one thing I also really have to admire about Diedrich Bader is that this is his second time playing Batman, and he's doing it in a goofier, more comedic series. And yet, this take is completely different from how he did it in The Brave and the Bold.
Oh, that's right. He did do Brave and the Bold. I
Yeah.
forgot about that.
And it's in a lot of ways, it's also the same portrayal.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, other than it being literally the same voice, like yeah, Brave and the Bold was another really like self-aware show that totally understood its characters. Yeah, I'd never thought about that actually. Um, Next one I want to bring up, we we briefly touched on it with Marcus's intro to the podcast. Bane, as played by James, I believe it's Adomian.
Yeah, Adomian, who
I mean,
uh
first off, it's ripping on Tom Hardy, which is always funny. I will never
Yeah,
not.
but like,
I will never not find riffing on Tom Hardy Bane funny. Like,
yeah, no, but it's like that something else about that too, because it's kind of doing the Batman and Robin or the Dark Knight Rises thing of making Bane the henchman, but
mhm.
it's lampshading it. Like,
Yeah,
it's very clear the writers know what Bane in the comics is supposed to be.
yeah,
but
yeah.
I think they also realize that Bane in the comics is super serious. It's so fascinating because so dear
Actually, this
listener,
is really funny because yeah, at the time of recording, we're
I'm
prepping
reading
for
Nightfall for the first time.
yeah, which I think will have come out the week before this episode is out.
Yes, if
But we haven't recorded that yet. It's all over the place. Anyway, but yeah, you just finished reading Nightfall today for the first
yeah.
time, and
And one, I had specifically Adomian's portrayal in the voice of my head. But
Oh
like,
no,
god.
come on.
done seriously?
What? How is that even possible?
I don't know. Don't ask. Um, and
Okay.
like, okay, so like Bane hasn't really had like Bane has had what? One, I'd say solid at good adaptation that makes the character work completely,
Mhm.
and that's the animated series.
Well, Arkham Origins.
I haven't played Arkham Origins.
Origins is like the one perfectly adapted portrayal of Bane.
Okay, like I'll give you that, but like the public consciousness of Bane
Is
isn't.
either Zombie from Batman and Robin or Tom Hardy, whatever the hell he was doing.
Uh, I think Hardy was trying to be psychological horror villain.
Oh, I mean, like it's the Heath Ledger thing with Hardy that, like, I'm like, that's a great villain. He's just
And
not the character from the comics.
and just like I said too, it makes the same mistake after Marion Cotillard is revealed to be Talia al Ghul. He is the henchman.
Mhm.
And but here they run with the henchman fully. But again, they don't like kick Bane down as the henchman. They just play
Mhm.
with the comedy. Like
They
Yeah.
kick
there
him
is a
down for other
scene.
reasons, but
They kick him down for other reasons. There's a scene in season one at the Legion of Doom where he's ratting a child out for using a credit card improperly.
Yeah.
when you put out a hit, you pay in cash.
It's
Um,
so good.
and it's such a good scene. Like it's like no, this is a character who gets shit on, but deserves justice for himself.
Yeah.
Um,
Like I
Um
said this at one point before the series ends. He has to join the crew.
oh
he
yeah.
does.
Like I mean, I that's what I first thought when we got rid of Dr. Psycho as like one of the main team members at the end of season 2. I was like, let it be Bane. Please have Bane join the team.
Because it's like
um
they mock Bane like everyone else, but unlike everyone else, they never disrespect him.
Yeah. I think those are all the main cast members I wanted to talk about. But just
We did forget at least two.
who?
We forgot Matt Oberg as Kite
Oh
Man.
yeah, it was kind of, yeah. Well, I thought we touched on him enough earlier.
Yeah, but I think Oberg's portrayal is great. I also think we have to mention a late season, a season 3 addition to sort of the recurring cast.
Oh yes, they're about Batgirl, right?
Make that 2 late additions to the supporting.
Nightwing then?
Nightwing, yes.
Okay, all right. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean they're both great. But yeah, I mean Batgirl especially as well. I
So
love both of their
what's
portrayals.
fascinating is I have seen Brianna Cuoco in one other thing.
Oh?
She is Mary Bennett in the Lizzie Bennett Diaries, which is a modern day internet adaptation of Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice.
Huh.
And it is the opposite portrayal because they portray Mary Bennett as sort of like disaffected goth chick, whereas Barbara Gordon Batgirl here is peppy and hyper and great.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um,
Um yeah. Oh yeah. I love her. I love both of their portrayals, and then also Nightwing as like the really exaggerated wannabe Batman. Like I think that's great.
Oh
which
god,
I hope
thanks.
you can already see growth in that one season, even though he's like not in season 3 a lot. Like
Oh yeah, but there's growth there,
the
definitely.
growth is there.
Yeah,
And when we get into like full crazy spoilers, I have my theory for what I want to see, and I really hope they do in season 4.
indeed.
Like,
And I think I already know what you're talking
oh,
about. But
you
yeah,
know what I'm talking
oh
about.
yeah, we'll discuss that later. But like I mentioned also earlier, just a quick rundown of some of the crazy guest stars they get on this. Wanda Sykes as Queen of Fables. I love
Oh,
her
I
portrayal of it.
loved that.
We got fucking Michael Ironside back as Darkseid from Superman the Animated Series, which I don't think he's done in quite a few years. He's fantastic. Alfred Molina as Mr. Freeze. Wayne Knight is the Penguin. James Gunn is James Gunn.
Gun.
Oh, like like when I was thinking of a way to introduce myself, that was going to be the other joke I was considering. It's like, so when's James Gunn announcing the Thomas Wayne movie?
I would love to see that. I would absolutely watch that.
Only if he
Um,
actually gets Billy Bob Thornton in.
yeah. Oh,
Because
that's
also
right.
Billy Bob Thornton as himself and Clayface for a
Yeah.
bit.
Because I'm just scrolling through guest cast
And
members. I
and
forgot George Lopez is George Lopez.
oh yeah, and just like with that too, with the James Gunn plot line, they even mock Justice League.
They do.
There's like, I called James Gunn. We'll be able to CGI the mustache in post.
Yeah. Who else? Howie Mandel is Howie Mandel. Matt Ryan back as Constantine.
Will
Um,
Sasso is Maxie Zeus.
Oh,
yes, yes.
Or
Oh, they're
Sam
like
so
Richardson.
for his limited screen time, like one of my favorite portrayals because I love him more on the sarcastic side. Tom Hollander is Alfred.
yes, yeah. Oh, he's so good.
Oh no,
Um,
a suit of lies.
and because you mentioned the amount of like pot shots they take at just things in the show, the HBO Max jokes they make,
Oh,
I think specifically of the Valentine's Day special. I forget what the line was about their wide variety of scripted and unscripted content. I loved that. Just so many great things in this show that I love about it, and I could probably talk about forever. But I guess unless we had
Well,
anything else to bring up, I'd like to go into
Sam
like each
Richardson is
season.
Swamp Thing.
What's up?
You missed Sam Richardson as Swamp
Ah,
Thing.
fuck! I knew I was forgetting someone I wanted to talk about.
Um, you missed Frankie Muniz as himself.
That is true. Frankie Muniz does play himself.
Rhea Perlman for one episode.
Yep.
Um, Jacob Tremblay is Damian Wayne.
Which is actually also because you mentioned Frankie Muniz. That's not the only time that Frankie Muniz has played himself in a comic book project.
What's the other time?
Preacher.
You're gonna make me watch Preacher eventually.
You
like,
have to
all
watch
the way
Preacher
through.
someday. It's so good.
Probably once we actually read it, I'll actually be able to sit down and watch the entire
Okay.
thing.
All right. And I'm definitely gonna make you read it someday. So
Uh,
yeah. He's great. But yeah, so many great things about this show. That, like I said, I could talk about forever. But I guess let's get into so each season by season. We're going to talk about some of our favorite episodes, our favorite of each season, and I think that should mostly cover it. So yeah, let's get into it. Season one. I guess let's open up by saying each of our favorite episodes for this one.
Okay, who wants to start?
I could start. I think my personal favorite, and part of me wants to say you're a damn good cop, Jim Gordon, but I think my actual favorite is being Harley Quinn.
See, Joey. Mine's a tie.
Oh, okay.
Because I couldn't pick between being Harley Quinn and You're a Damn Good Cop,
Oh,
Jim
so,
Gordon. Probably for the same reasons as we both. I know you and I both love intense character studies.
yeah, yeah. So like
Um,
being Harley Quinn is exactly that, and damn good cop is probably the most I laughed the entire season.
you feel bad, and You're a Damn Good Cop for Jim Gordon. You feel bad for the severed hand of Clayface, voiced by Tom Kenny, who has his own mind and personality and
He's
doesn't
so
want to
good.
remerge with the rest of himself,
Oh, he's
but he
so
has
good.
to.
hmm yeah. Oh, I love that. Marcus, your favorite of the season?
Oh, I'm the outlier here because my favorite is Finding Mr. Right.
Oh, that's interesting. I do love that one.
Like I
I
like
really
most of the
do.
time with this show, I go for entertainment value over character work or anything, and
Mm.
just like Finding Mr. Right is the one I laugh the most at.
And we never brought up. Oh, wait, did you bring up Jacob Tremblay as Robin?
I did it briefly, but like
Yeah,
that's also the Jacob Tremblay as Robin episode, and
Yeah,
I
because he's
love.
so good in that. I just love the portrayal of Damien as just an actual child, just like a child.
and it's like it's also the first moment where I kind of realized that Ivy was the straight man in this series because it's like, or we could kidnap her and make her print a retraction. No, you cannot fuck with Lois Lane.
Yes, yeah, yeah, and it is also the first one with James Wolk as Superman, who I don't know, I love. He's so funny.
And they kind
Um,
of play Superman straight throughout like the entire show, basically.
They
Like,
do, but I love like even in just that scene they have in Finding Mr. Right, where they're just like Superman and Lois are just kind of like flirting with each other as they're stopping this attack from Harley and the gang. Like just really fun stuff.
um,
I do also really like A High Bar. I think that's a
um,
great episode, the bar
yeah, I
mitzvah
mean,
one.
Oh yeah,
That's a really great one because I love the whole plot line with well with Kite Man and Ivy in that, and also with all the kids being taken over by Ivy's plans.
which again, gross out humor, but it works. Also, the, the bar, like it's a bar mitzvah at the Gotham Mint, implied specifically for villains who want to teach their children how to also be villains
Yeah.
by heisting money. Um, and so Harley is a character, like the entire show is basically let's try to emancipate Harley Quinn from the toxic relation that is the Joker. Um, that everyone can see, like even in just the pilot, the way the pilot set up is great. Um,
Yeah, I really do like the pilot episode. Um, I love like all the scenes in Arkham between like Harley and Ivy there. And I loved again just Harley slowly realizing that she has to break free from the Joker and how that whole thing is portrayed. I think it's really smart.
it's also great how they that's how they establish like Harley's design, which is a great design. Like,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand the constant hate that thing gets.
I mean, it's riffing on the DCEU design. Um,
Well, in the hair color, but that's about it.
see,
Other than that,
honestly,
it's the
I
amount.
thought it was closer to the Arkham City design myself.
See, it's actually a mostly a riff on the Amanda Connor Harley Quinn look from the New 52, which I already
Okay.
mentioned that this show is sort of riffing on.
I mean,
Um,
people also just hate a lot of the things the New 52 did.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, but the Amanda Connor Harley Quinn run is one of the things it got right. So, um, anyway,
uh,
I do also adore the last two episodes of this season as just genuinely great character drama.
I mean, they managed to land finales.
Oh yeah, I mean the between the Ivy fake out death and just Alan Tudyk being a genuinely terrifying Joker in those moments, um, and even just some really funny moments with this. This has the iconic "Where's my goddamn electric car?" Bruce, you know. It's really great stuff. Just a really great season overall, I think, and
Um,
fantastic start to the show.
I think some other highlights. Back one. So again, it does a really good job of just establishing sort of the offness of the world, where you have Tawny Young as a Wendy Williams riff, but also just the idea that like superheroes go on like daytime television.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Which is
I remember a lot of the bylines from every one of her shows. Like my favorite is like Joker, quote, Harley stole my man.
It's so good.
um, and
Yeah,
then you
just a
have
lot. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
like you have Damian Wayne Robin, who is portrayed as the little shit that he is whenever like the cameras aren't on him. Like when the cameras are on him, like he's just like, "Oh, I'm adorable. Look at me. I'm a sweet child." Cameras are off him, he's a dick. But when he's
Yeah.
then alone with his dad, he's an actual vulnerable child.
Yeah.
And like they do Bat Dad, but like they also develop Bat Dad and really dig into what makes Bruce Wayne tick. And
Mhm.
in a way, I think they do a really interesting commentary of what like Batman in film has been kind of getting in a way wrong, like
Mm.
in not developing, and that's the Bat family. Because like Batman in film very much keeps Batman at a stage of he's trying to move, he's like he cannot move past the death of his parents, and not
Mhm.
and not like in a way of like he gets over it, but in a way of he moves on and finds his own family. um and that's sort of where like each season Batman's arc kind of builds to that, and it
Mhm.
culminates in season 3, all in B plots, mind you. Like this is not a Batman show.
Mhm. Well,
It
except
is
for the
a
one season 2 episode.
except for that one episode. But like it's mainly let's do the entire Batman side of the DC universe and do some other shit from the DC universe. Also, Tony Hill as Dr. Psycho's plot in this first season, his introduction is just
Oh,
perfectly
the
awful.
whole cunt thing.
Yes.
I love that. I love that so much. That is the thing that gets him on everybody's bad side.
And like it's so funny because he has every opportunity to like redeem himself as a villain in the eyes of the public
Mhm.
while still
Also,
being a villain.
that is the only word that the show ever censors. Like even when they're not on TV, like they censor them saying cunt.
Well, I think that's because it's also like here in America, it is like
Yeah, it's a big deal for
it's a
some
big deal,
reason.
whereas it isn't in other words. And like I get it, because like
There are far
it's
worse words out there, though. Come on.
yes.
Like, in my opinion, at least. I don't know.
Um,
Um,
Also, like, okay, so we actually have to talk about what being Harley Quinn and You're a Damn Good Cop, Jim Gordon, well, at least what being Harley Quinn does so well.
mm,
And that's the fact that, like, so Dr. Psycho has psychic powers, and, like, we have to go into Harley's mind to sort of understand who she is, because she can't find, like, what her brand is outside of the Joker.
mhm.
And we do this constant questioning of we do the mad love scene. We do mad love, which is adapted a lot for good reason. And we ask the question, was it her choice to jump in the acid, or was she pushed?
Mhm.
And just the fascinating of what Harley's mind is, which it breaks down Harley's mind and makes everyone like in the crew be attacked by like
Yeah. The teenage Harley
the
Quinn.
the teenage Harley Quinns, and that's how we get Frankie Muniz.
Yeah, because she was like she had like the poster up and he had a restraining order against her.
Again,
Just
all done so comedically, but with just great comedy. Um,
yeah, and with so much heart at the same time too, which is really what makes it work.
and the B plot reveals quite a bit about Cyborgman.
Yes.
It's where we have Rhea Perlman as Golda.
And, and they're so good.
We find out that Cy is friends with one Henry. How the fuck is this man still alive and probably reaching his centenary while Betty White was taken from as Kissinger? Um, I'm
Try,
still
try
I
saying
mad.
know
that
we're
5 times
criminals, but
fast.
are we really war criminals?
It's so good. Oh, I love it.
Um,
Yeah,
uh,
just and overall, the episode is just a genuinely great analysis of Harley as a character and who she is and how I think she should always be portrayed. Um, at
Yeah,
least,
like I think I know you didn't like it, Jacob, but I think this episode actually pairs really well with Bensonhurst.
true. I love
I
I love what Bensonhurst does.
I like what Bensonhurst does. I have some issues with it in general. Um, Mainly with how awful her family is
I mean
and sort of
that's the point.
Which
yeah.
Is
is
that her
kind of
family is
interesting
awful.
thinking about now because I'm listening to Spotify's new Batman podcast, Harley and Joker's Sound Mind, and it's doing something very different.
Interesting. I do need to get around to it, but then I never finished Unburied either. So
You should finish Unburied. Unburied is great.
are they doing
Um,
another season of that, or is it
No,
a
I think
standalone thing?
Harley and Joker's Sound Mind is the quote unquote sequel
Is,
because it
is it
has a
set in the
different
same
Bruce Wayne.
universe?
well,
No,
it's
no, it's a new series, and it, like I said, it's got a different Bruce Wayne. And
Hmm.
Unburied, it was Winston Duke. In Harley and Joker, it's Justin Hartley.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's interesting.
I wouldn't be surprised though if we got more Batman Unburied at some point based on sort of how that ended and the
Hmm.
ideas they were playing with, which are interesting. Um,
I think I got 5 episodes in. I think.
it's very good. I like what it does. Um, and some of the ideas that it plays with.
Hmm.
Um, but yes.
Anyway, shall we move on to season 2?
Um, oh, I should say, the show also has a tendency to kill off villains and they stay dead, which
Yes.
I really like, and I love that
I like big ones too.
yeah, like
Yeah.
Scarecrow's dead at one point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, Queen of Fables is a character, and Wanda Sykes is perfect.
Wanda
I
Sykes is
just
always perfect,
as a
which was so
book,
funny actually because I think she's doing even more animation now. She's in the Bad Batch now. This the Star Wars show. She's in season 2, which I
it's
think
always
is
nice.
just
It's
funny.
nice to see people like actual big actors make the leap to animation and work, like
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
works.
hmm
Um, but
Anyway, but yeah, so let's move into season 2. Favorite episode. I think I have a very easy answer to this that I think at least one of you may agree with. Riddler, you.
you know what? I have to agree.
Marcos.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think. It was like because like season 2, I'm kind of blanking on. Like I remember specific scenes and stuff, but I'm trying to remember the season on a whole. But
Mm.
yeah, I could either agree with Riddler you or Batman's Backman.
That would probably be my second favorite, but Riddler you is just I it's so damn good. Cop Jim Gordon is the thing I most laughed at, but probably it wasn't my favorite of season 1. Riddler you is easily the thing I laughed at the most in season 2. It is so hilarious. My favorite Clayface plotline this show
Can
has
we
ever
talk about
done.
the Clayface plotline?
Oh
So
God,
okay,
Stephanie.
so the setup is
Stephanie.
no man's land. Like, and Riddler is running Gotham University because intelligence-based villain, and to infiltrate. Harley and Ivy are like, yeah, we can totally pass as college students, mind you. Like, they're at least in their 30s in this universe. Like, so we're already kind of taking meta jokes at the cat classic. Let's cast like actors in their 30s as teenagers. And the joke with Clayface is that he's a bad actor. So he pretends to be a college girl called Stephanie and goes method.
And he
And it's
becomes like
great.
the most popular girl on the campus, and like everybody loves her, and like she's still Clayface is still like terrible at playing the part too.
Like, because
It's so
Alan
good.
Tudyk isn't changing his voice, isn't really
No,
changing his voice.
no.
He's just adding more emphasis on random syllables.
Also, just
It's so
Jim
good.
Rash is perfect as the
Oh, Jim
Riddler.
Rash is so good as Riddler. I love him.
Um,
Yeah, really great stuff.
and like a plot point is Clayface. So At college parties, this is going to sound ridiculous because it is. The Riddler gives VIP treatment to some people where it's not actual VIP treatment. He uses their intelligence and then hooks them up to giant hamster wheels to power the university.
Which is literally just Jim Carrey's Riddler.
Yes.
Yes.
Also, the Riddler has the like early New 52 design,
He
which I
does.
find hilarious.
Yes. And they make a joke about it later on that he has just like premature hair loss. It's just funny.
But you have Clayface as Stephanie. Clayface, a shape-shifting clay monster. As Stephanie hooked up to one of these hamster wheels. And like he doesn't think to, shapeshift out of it. And it's just it's hilarious. This is also where we get Barbara Gordon as a character for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell she's her father's daughter, but she's immediately more intelligent than her father.
Mm-hmm.
And Cuoco just plays it really well and decides, right, this is going to be my Batgirl origin story. Adding a member of the Bat family by the end of the season. I love, and we end with the Riddler in the same fate, powering Harley's lair. Which,
really great episode. Easily my
that'll
favorite
have no
season.
Negative repercussions in the future or anything.
No, never. So Marcus mentioned it, and it's probably my second favorite of the season. Batman's Batman. If for nothing else, just the beautiful meta commentary on fan culture.
Yes.
That's all you need to say, really. It's a fantastic episode. To the
I'd
point where
also
there
say-
literally are two just like pathetic neckbeard nerds complaining about Harley Quinn as a show, and then watching it anyway.
Which in season 2 they do that quite a bit, and they also break the fourth wall in that way, and it's really really well done. We also I think we need to talk about episodes 3 and 4.
I was gonna bring up Thawing Hearts next actually, because it's genuinely a great Mr. Freeze story.
And we do something that Mr. Freeze like performed like visual adaptations outside of, I believe you say one of the Arkham games technically lets Nora be a character at one point.
Arkham Knight. Yep.
But like we let Nora be a character. And it's very sad. Also, just you feel like Harley's, so part of the whole thing is this is a redemption of Harley Quinn and her shifting away from being a villain to being more of an anti-hero. I wouldn't say she's a full hero by the end, but she's an anti-hero in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And she like is genuinely torn up by the fact that she kind of is responsible for Freeze's death and fucking up Freeze's wife. And then you have Nora, who's just a genuinely compelling character. And like what's nice is by season 3, and well, by the end of this season and season 3, we actually allow Nora Freeze to have a character arc where she has to deal with the fact that her husband dies.
Yeah, and she just like acts out because of it. And
like also that scene with Victor and Nora is also kind of important because we get kind of glimpses, because a lot of the episode, there are several episodes that focus on Harley's relationships with Ivy and her own insecurities because of how badly the Joker fucked her up. Like the Valentine's Day special just did this too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's fascinating is that it's clear in season 1 that Harley and Ivy is the end goal, but they don't ever they don't really come right out and say it until the cliffhanger sort of.
There's no place to go but down in that one. Yeah. Where they actually end up kissing by the end.
Where they kiss, and it's like, oh, we're actually going to make this like, it's really good storytelling because it's not like coding or implied. It's explicit in the text if you're actually paying attention.
Yeah, exactly. Like they were always planning on that from season 1. Unfortunately, at the same time, they're making you really care for Kite Man and Ivy as a couple, and it really hurts to see them break up, actually.
It really is, but it hurts but it ends so well.
I do also love the episode Bachelorette in this. um where it's Harley, Ivy, Nora, and all of them like going out to Themyscira for Ivy's bachelorette party, and it's the episode where Harley and Ivy finally fuck, and it's very fun. Yeah, just really great stuff. Love that one.
And we parallel this it's an episode all about marriages basically because um King Shark has to get married.
That's
Oh,
right, I forgot about
yes.
that.
Yeah. And it's an arranged marriage, but also an open marriage. And I do like that this show is very open about like relationships are messy, and relationships don't have to be sort of that single mm, closed monogamous Christian marriage. It's
Mhm.
it's a very nice thing to just sort of see the representation happen, as well as a show. It doesn't limit itself to being like ashamed about talking about sex as a concept and like a
Mhm.
thing and relationships, because relationships are messy and often are bottled up. And this is a show that doesn't do that. It explores a lot of what that can be, and
Mhm.
is often like, as the show goes on, it like it's clear that the writers are also, aware of the fact that like how to write representation just in general. Um,
Mhm.
and it's really important for a show like this, something that say a Marvel show would never do.
Yeah, yeah, I
Um,
agree. We also have the episode in this season, Die Hard, which first delves into what happened to Joker post season one. That
oh,
his transformation into the Joker was literally undone, and he's just kind of a normal dude now. And it's just, I don't know. I love that. I really love. I mean, first off, Alan Tuke's performance just as normal guy Joker. But I love Harley's interactions with him. I find those really fascinating.
and Harley is like, no, I can't make him be the Joker again. Like, first, she's fucking terrified early in the season when she just sees him as a bartender.
Yeah.
And I was genuinely questioning, like, okay, are they going to bait and switch us, or is this actually the Joker? Because, like, you have the end of season one where it's like, Joker's dead, surprise, he's not actually dead, but he looks normal. But is this going to be a normal guy, or is Harley just going to be a little completely insecure about her ex?
Mhm.
Because both ways are very possible. But it is the Joker, and
He has
because
genuinely changed.
keeping in the theme of DC Comics being all about family,
Yeah.
they
And
give him a
to the point
family.
where even after he changes back into the Joker, like that doesn't really change his relationship. Like he's still there. Yeah, he's still
He
doing what he would normally do.
He's just now in a committed relationship with a single mom of 2 kids.
Yeah.
who
And
he's a
he's
really
still the
good
Joker.
dad
Like
for.
and they don't sacrifice Joker's character in order to change it. It's still the same guy there. He is
I
just
mean, it
genuinely evolved
helps.
as a person.
It helps that they don't go as dark as a lot of super modern Joker stuff goes. Um, I mean, they imply Jason Todd exists in this universe in season three, um, several times.
Indeed.
Um, but like, they don't like. I don't think death of the family obviously hasn't happened in this universe. Endgame hasn't happened in this universe. Um,
Though there are other New 52 implications that come in next
oh,
season.
there are. We will talk about them. Because, oh my god, what they do is, again, fascinating.
Yeah.
Um,
Um
we also haven't talked about Catwoman.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
Catwoman.
Marcus, I know you have opinions.
did I? I don't remember.
Did he have opinions?
I, I mean, I know just the character and the way she's portrayed um, is, again, fascinating because it's not. I I have a feeling they took cues from Eartha Kitt, like in a lot of ways.
I would take it more as like you know what? Maybe you're right. I was gonna say
I don't
maybe
know.
maybe
I got a little, not a lot, mind you. I got a little bit of Michelle Pfeiffer in that she's actually a cat.
see that's true, but also Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman is legitimately in love with Batman.
Yeah,
Um
And
so
I
like
feel like I feel like they're going to be growing a love between Bruce and Selena because
Yeah.
You can tell the writers are Batcat shippers,
Mhm.
but it feels
Um,
like they saw what Batman 66 season 3 did and was like, well, now we have Eartha Kitt because of,
See, I would say also, Julie Newmar also did the same sort of portrayal in her relationship with Bruce.
yeah, but Newmar could be a bit more outwardly flirty, whereas with Kitt, because of racism, they had to really dial that back, like,
Yeah,
a lot, where it's like, well, we want to go full percent.
yeah.
Also, she's, you know, portrayed as an asshole for a lot of season 2 and most of season 3, but also really independent and likable.
Hmm.
Like you get it because um this is the season where we really start to see Bruce Wayne more as a character, and Bruce is again really caught up with his parents' death. It culminates in season 3. Oh boy, does it culminate in season 3. But like
Hmm.
he doesn't really have the Justice League when he's back in the back half of season 2. Um until the end where Harley releases them from the book, um, and we beat Darkseid at the end of season 2 without
Hmm.
like killing Darkseid, and Michael Ironside,
I mean, he still got it. He still plays the role perfectly. He's
and
so good.
he doesn't sacrifice his performance for the comedy of this show.
No, no, because he knows how to play the character. He does it perfectly. Um, yeah, really, really, he's always great. And I just love the whole wedding sequence at the end of the Runaway Bridesmaid. Yeah,
Um,
really great stuff. And also just the culmination of Kite Man's arc in that episode is
Also,
fantastic.
you want to know. You want to know. I think what hurts, like so Doctor Psycho betrays the crew and becomes a villain, right? Like,
Hmm.
well, an antagonist because he's always been a villain. What hurts is the fact that he's the one who shows Kite Man that Harley and Ivy are a thing,
Hmm.
and I was like immediately worried, like, oh no, I'm afraid they're gonna do this trope.
Well, yeah, don't make Kite Man a bad guy because of it, you know? Um, but like
And
they don't sacrifice Kite Man's character for it.
Um, and Kite Man, like he doesn't show up often in season 3, but when he does, it's really well done and really smart, and they remain respectful of each other as people.
Hmm.
Um, and Ivy's allowed to realize, oh wait, I've been in love with Harley this entire time. Um, and it's just a really solid ending to a season. Like even if there are maybe some things that you guys may find rocky, I think just the back half of the season more than makes up for it.
See, oddly
Um,
enough, I find the first half of season two a bit stronger in general.
Interesting.
Mm. But anyway, I guess let's move on to season three. We're nearing the end of it. Favorite episode of this season? I think, do all of our favorite episodes come from season three? Because mine is it's a swamp thing. I know Marcus is the killing vote. Jacob, I forget what yours.
Mine, again, it's hard for season 3 because it might be. You know what? It might. Okay, if are we counting the Valentine's Day special as part of season 3 or separate?
Yes, but say you weren't allowed to, what would you choose?
I would probably choose a tie between Batman Begins Forever and Climax at Jazza Pajizza
Okay,
because
that's interesting.
I
See,
think
season three is just full of nothing but fucking bangers. Like I like saying it's a Swamp Thing is my favorite episode. It feels like I'm disregarding like a Thief of Mole and Orgy or the 83rd annual Villy Awards. You know,
this is a
like
season where I think we really should talk about each episode individually, just because at least a little
I
bit.
mean briefly.
Yeah, because of what they do. Because okay, I think it's really smart is that the core of this season is the Harley and Ivy's relationship as a
Mhm.
relationship.
Yeah, and
Um,
Harlivy opens that.
yes,
Um,
But also at the same time, while not sacrificing that, I like that this season does have a stronger focus on some of the other characters than the previous seasons did as well.
yeah,
I wonder if that's because of the reduced runtime too. Like, because like
maybe. I mean, the reduced runtime is because they moved over to HBO Max.
yeah, but like reducing it maybe made the writers realize, oh, we only have. I mean, okay, technically, because I'm guessing the Valentine's Day special was probably part of this season order. They really only lost one episode,
Two
but
episodes.
Well, one, because Valentine's Day special is a double length.
Oh, it's double length.
episode.
Yeah, okay.
So
Yeah.
they were like, okay, we know that basically 2 episodes are going to be combined into one for a special after the season. So that brings us only down to 10. So we have to get our story told really tightly, and it is damn like tightly plotted.
Mhm.
Uh, like because Harley, great opener. We established that Ivy's Ivy has a plan this season where she wants to basically resurrect some plants, some extinct plants in Gotham that were destroyed basically by humanity, and she kind of wants to destroy the world, but like, okay,
She wants to do the Batman and Robin thing where she wants to remake the world.
Mhm.
yeah, but even then, some of that feels a little hollow, even from the start. Um, because we already established that she has exceptions, which I love that one of the exceptions to the plan is her and Harley's favorite Italian restaurant,
Mama
Mama
Macaroni's.
Macaroni's.
Like, oh
Which
my
is so-
god, just from the Valentine's Day specials, I swear, binging with Babish, it's a YouTube channel that does
Oh yeah, no,
portrayed in
that
fiction.
yeah,
He better make those fucking meatballs.
Ooh,
right.
yes.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Um,
That'd be great. Um, yeah, I love that. Yeah, I love what Harley does just in general. It's a great episode to open this season. Um,
I do also have just because I want to kind of share this joke. So, Harley opens with Harley and Ivy stealing the invisible plane and going on a crime spree across the world. Where at one point they kidnap the Queen of England and later throw her out of the invisible plane. I
yes.
watched this episode for the first time like 2 days after it happened.
Oh no.
you know what? You know what? I want that to be canon
That
to
is how
real
she died.
life.
That is how she died.
That is how the queen died, thrown out of a plane. Also, we set up Clayface's main plot line of wanting to be in James Gunn's new biopic about the death of Thomas Wayne.
Yes. It's so good.
And
It's so good.
okay, one James Gunn, great director, great writer. Didn't realize he could act fairly well.
Yeah. Yeah,
Probably
he's
because
good.
I imagine just the directors of this series are really good at voice direction, and they also know that James Gunn is not an actor, so they know when to limit his screen time, and that's not a complaint. It's just you realize you're writing in a celebrity cameo of a director who does not act.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's also because he's just playing himself.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. He just
So it's like they're not
doesn't-
really requiring him to act.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, Harley kidnaps Amanda Waller, and
And Plastique is in it, which is
why
funny.
does Plastique keep showing up in things, Joey?
Plastique is so important, Jacob. You don't realize it. Yes, she was only in the first issue ever, but it's okay.
It's okay, but like she keeps showing up. She showed up in Trinity War.
Yeah, she's everywhere.
I should be looking for Plastique now, really, shouldn't I?
Yep.
Like as a character.
Plastique's got to be everywhere. Anyway, I do like there's no IVN team. I love the whole escape room thing with them and the Bat family.
We introduced the Bat family. I love the pairings. I love the way King Shark like tries to console Damien, who's like afraid he's gonna die.
Yeah.
And
Oh
like
God,
it
I'm
works.
gonna die with like the 8th Robin. I'm the first Robin.
And I love one Harvey Guillen as Dick Grayson is perfect casting. Like the man can do it. But also he makes his voice just so deep because he wants to be a proper amount of serious. And like you get who Nightwing is as a character and where like Dick Grayson is on his journey, and we set up Dick as having to learn to sort of be a team player because they make Dick fail, and it's fascinating. Also, like they make him a massive nerd, and okay, so the Riddler gets kind of an arc between seasons 2 and 3. Um, like once he escapes, he's gotten shredded because he's been running on a hamster wheel for all of season 2
Mhm.
and not given breaks. And here he runs an escape room basically via pre-recorded messages,
Yeah.
and it heavily implies that like other people have done this escape room.
As they should. I would do the Riddler escape room.
I would too, and like not fucked it up.
Yeah.
Like I love the idea that this has just been going on as like not even really like a fully evil scheme.
No, he's
Just
just he has a genuine business.
yeah, it may kill you if you
Very
fail.
possibly. But hey, I mean, whatever. He has their money.
Um, it's such a fascinating episode. And then in the
Yeah.
next episode, he comes back.
The 83rd annual Vilio Awards. I
And
adore this one. Oh my god.
okay, I'm surprised we haven't gotten sort of like right wing hit pieces on this episode in particular for
How so?
for for taking away the straight icon of the Riddler.
Riddler is
Oh, please.
was the Riddler ever straight, Jacob? I don't even think they could argue with that.
I'm sure they could. They wouldn't do it well. Also, they pair him with Clock King, which is it's an oddly cute relationship. Also, they make the obvious joke of Cock King because
As they
yes.
should. As they should.
Um,
I think I told you this story before, but when I was when Doomsday Clock was coming out, I don't know why it's just a common thing to do with comic things involving clocks, but my the guy that I ordered it from at my comic shop called it the Doomsday Cock, and I don't know, it's just a thing that you do, I guess.
what happens is your eye is reading over the line of text, and sometimes certain fonts aren't great with lowercase l's, so your brain deletes it and just
It's look. It was a funny story. You had to fucking ruin it. Anyway, Alan Tudyk gets to sing a song as the Joker in this one.
he does.
Like Joker do.
Like Joker do,
And it's like
and it like stays throughout the rest of the season.
and it almost becomes like at one point a Bubsy Berkeley like giant classic like 30s film number,
Yeah.
which again we go over the top. We have Clayface accidentally killing Billy Bob Thornton. Well, could I need to be James Gunn?
Yep. And we also deal with the fallout from the wedding last season with Kite Man here and his new girlfriend.
Scene. Like, so at the first half of the episode, I thought like, oh, they're gonna do Kite Man's girlfriend is a girlfriend from Canada. You wouldn't know her. She goes to a different school, and she's actually a character. And like the paralleling of the scenes with Kite Man and Harley, and then Golden Glider and Ivy are like just perfect scenes. Like.
Mm-hmm.
Especially as they realize, as Glider and Ivy realize, oh wait, we're just the situation of Ivy talking to Kite Man's current love interest, and Glider talking to Kite Man's ex,
Mm-hmm.
and like one, they don't hate each other. Like, I'm so glad they avoid that trope of like catty exes, right? Like,
Yeah.
they avoid it. It's so nice. It's kind of a shame we don't get more Kite Man this season.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not a huge deal, I guess.
But he's getting a spin-off series.
Yes, I'm not sure if that's still in production.
Uh,
I hope it is.
I hope he's still getting a spin-off series. I mean,
don't hold your breath. We're talking about David Zaslav here.
Indeed.
but like Gunn was in this show, so maybe it'll still happen.
We'll see, I guess.
And
Anyway.
Harley Quinn may not be canceled after season 4.
With any luck.
Please.
But A Thief in Mullen Orgy is another one of my absolute favorites this season.
I mean, let's just say, of course, for parody, for comedy, of course, this is the direction they went with the Court of Owls.
I mean, obviously, me and Jacob are massive Court of Owls fans.
But I also love it. Also,
yeah, like
okay, Frank
it's
becomes the damsel in distress for this season.
Yes.
And I don't know why that's perfect, because JB Smoove plays it just perfectly.
Yeah.
Also, this idea of Catwoman taking Bruce to an orgy. Oh, and Jim Gordon's running for mayor
And
against
Two-Face is his campaign manager.
Yeah. And I don't know, the fucking build up to the Court of Owls just being a secret sex cult. Oh my god, I love it. I love it so much. I love it so much that after I watched it, I added Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo, and I was just like, please let me know that you enjoyed this. And Scott Snyder at least liked the tweet, so that was nice.
yes.
But oh my god, I adore it. It's so great.
Also, Bane is here,
As he
and
should be.
like the idea is, of course, everyone's in masks. The password to get into the party is hoot hoot.
Or no,
It's-
I'm sure you did, but like, did you guys see Bruce Wayne's shadow in the club?
in the what?
In the club, I guess. Like his shadow while he's
that it was
wearing
the
the Court of
Batman
Owls mask.
silhouette.
Yes.
Yeah.
But like everyone in there is supposed to be incognito, but Bane is there. And like Bane is just like, because it's Bane, he can't really be incognito because of, the mask and stuff. Like the mask, and then the mask over the mask, and the venom, and trying to get out of it. And the way they take Bane by the end of this is and the Valentine's Day special is perfectly fascinating and hilarious.
Indeed.
Also, the idea that Bruce Wayne has Frank at this point
Yes.
only because he's convinced Ivy's up to something, and he's not wrong.
Mhm.
But we'll see how that develops. Now,
Yes. Yeah.
on to your favorite episode,
It's a
Joey.
Swamp Thing. Oh, it's a Swamp Thing. And again, it's something I just love, probably purely because it has like all of my favorite obscure DC characters in it. I mean, I guess Constantine is not so obscure nowadays. But I've loved Constantine for such a long time, and having Matt Ryan back in the role is fantastic. Has fucking Music Meister, and they get a song with him, Bruce and Selena, and it's just like, I love it. It's so much fun. Love that, and I love the
If I
portrayal
had
of
a nickel for
Swamp
every
Thing with a man
Batman
bun,
project,
and Nora throughout this one. Like, oh my god, absolutely insane! Just such an insane ride, and one of the perfect examples, which is why I love this show so much.
they give Swamp Thing a man bun.
As they should, as they fucking
Also,
should.
they do the green,
They do.
which the Swamp Thing Ivy relate that those interactions are also really interesting,
Mhm.
really fascinating, because they are kind of similar characters when you think about it, like in what purpose they serve,
Oh
but
yeah.
also are diametrically opposed. Um, Also, just the Music Meister.
The fucking Music Meister. Unfortunately, not played by Neil Patrick Harris, but still incredibly fun nonetheless.
Still really well done.
Yeah.
Now,
Joker, the Killing Vote.
Marcus.
Yeah, this is what I was saying. Like they give the Joker a redemption arc. It works, but they don't change his character. Like he's not doing this for some profound personal reason. He's doing it to piss off a Karen.
Yeah. It's so good. And he wins in the end too, which is the best part about it.
And they do the Jack Nicholson parade.
Yeah.
I love that his henchmen kill people, and he's like, no, wait, no, we aren't killing people this time.
It's so great. Oh, I love
Also, the Karen, the scene, the Karen is basically on the PTA. And so the Wayne Family Adventures comic has implied Bruce Wayne is on Damien's PTA, which image I love, and has explicitly given Bruce Wayne a personal villain who tries to somehow who he has to keep one upping as a dad, which is a delight. But this Karen was just like, I've met people like this.
Yeah. I think we all have.
Yeah, but
I know, Marcus, you'll probably quote the line, but in the car, just
oh yeah, it's like Arroz con pollo from mi casa to su casa. Oh, is that an ethnic dish? Yes, it is ethnic. Speaking of racist,
It's so fucking good. Oh, I adore
Like,
it.
I also kind of love that in this series, this seems kind of the perfect place to talk about it. They drop Two-Face's fractured personalities and instead have him just be duplicitous, two-faced.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually bring that to light in this episode. It's like, are you kidding? My name is Two-Face.
It's so great. Oh man, I love it.
And we end on the discovery from Harley and Ivy that the Joker's the mayor now, which like doesn't play into like the rest of the season in terms of like their character interactions as much as you'd think.
Until like the very end of the season.
But it is a fascinating end,
Mm-hmm.
like to end to an episode.
We go into probably my least favorite of the season,
I
another
mean,
Sharkly
also just
adventure.
like they did. Before we do, like they did with Harley. Please bring Bethany into the comics.
Right?
I love her so much.
But yeah, we have another Sharkly adventure then, and it's okay. I don't know. I don't love this one.
I don't know. I like that we get some actual King Shark focus this season because he's been like in the background.
That's fair, and I do like that. And I do like the Harley Batgirl interactions throughout this one. But overall, I mean, it's not one of my favorites.
I think it's also a really important step for the redemption of Harley Quinn because
That's true.
Barbara Gordon's
Yeah.
the first person to actually see it happening, like way back in season 2,
Hmm.
and she's the one who essentially pushes it forward.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is just one thing. Like, it's not enough to bring down the episode for me, but it's like, I feel like I get where they're coming from, but I feel like they go a little too far with the Mad Hatter.
How so?
Just really dialing up the creep factor generally. Like I said, they're not vaulting across the line, but they're kind of tiptoeing across it.
I don't know. I think for Mad Hatter, the creepier the better. You know, I always thought that's how the character should be portrayed. Personally,
I mean, isn't there one comic where it's the
yeah,
creepiest he's ever been?
he's
Yeah,
literally yeah.
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 Which I'd like to read someday, just out of sheer morbid curiosity.
There are also some implications in one of the Arkham games about him too. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway.
otherwise, like the only thing I really remember about this episode is that fight between King Shark and his brother.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah, I do love that. But anyway, then we have Batman Begins Forever, which actually I want to mention. I've been going through IMDb for all these episodes, and this is the highest rated episode on IMDb of this show, at a 9.1. So
I mean, I get it.
it's pretty fucking great. Yeah.
It does. It's doing a lot. Like the last episodes of this, well, the last 3 episodes of sort of this season are doing a lot. We need to deconstruct who Bruce Wayne is, especially in the context of this universe, as well as within sort of the constant meta narrative of why doesn't Bruce Wayne help Gotham, even though he kind of actually does in the comics. But like he doesn't as much in mainly the film, which is what people know.
Mhm.
Because people on Twitter have to remember not everybody reads comics, which is a shame because Batman comics and comics in general are great. That's what this podcast is about. But in the films, your that criticism is correct. And I love one. This is where Harley realizes, I'm actually a really good therapist. Like
Yeah, like oh my god, the scenes with her and young Bruce are probably some of my favorite. Like from that first one, the whole "just look away" kid. God, I love that scene.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
like
really great
she goes they all go into Bruce's mind for kind of selfish reasons. Dr. Psycho also has a podcast about psychology, and I think they're hinting at a Dr. Psycho redemption arc.
I
I
don't know
think
if I
they
want
do
that.
it first, and then they
I want
reveal
that.
it's just an act.
You're right.
Yeah. But also, I really want to see Harley on Dr. Psycho's podcast. I need to see that. I want to see that play out just out of sheer curiosity.
Mhm.
Um,
And overall, I mean, yeah, as we mentioned, this is an analysis of Bruce Wayne's character, both funny in the idea that it's called Batman Begins Forever because he is just continually reliving the death of his parents in his head, but also that is what actual Bruce Wayne constantly does all the fucking
And
time.
it's something that like it's a hilarious title, but it's also just a dark title because they don't like after maybe the 7-minute mark of the episode, they stop playing that scenario for comedy. Like once Harley realizes how fucked up Bruce is, also the way she figures out, oh wait, you're Batman.
Hmm.
This and like just the entire House of Cards tumbles, and it's like this makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Um, and Diedrich Bader gives this absolutely sinister performance by the end of the
Mhm.
episode.
Oh yeah, yeah. Where we because this is the one where we learn that his plan is literally to use Frank to resurrect his parents.
And Harley has
Yeah,
to
that's
abandon child Bruce in his own head.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm so glad they don't drop that from the rest of the season. Like they follow that up, and we like the way the season ends is perfect. Because we then actually have episode 9 climax at Jazzapajizza, which is the name is clearly taken from Chicago's Lollapalooza, but it's a
Mhm.
jazz festival, and
Yeah. One
this
that
idea,
Poison Ivy is very excited about.
you know what? I would be too. She's
I gotta say that like my favorite thing about this episode is just this all the scenes where like Bruce is just trying to casually talk to his parents who are just fucking zombies, and he's like, "This is your grandson Damien." It's just like,
and I just
what
love
do you...
that like throughout most of this season, but especially in this episode, Damien's just been on his Game Boy the entire time.
Yeah. I love it. And then like it starts this plant zombie apocalypse, and
this
it's incredibly fun.
interestingly, if this was season 1 or 2, this would be the finale, but it's not.
Yeah,
And
yeah, because the real finale lies in how our characters react and reel from all this.
because
Um,
like okay, Ivy goes mad with power,
mhm.
and like it's very naturally done. I love it. I also just love sort of the like super powered Ivy design in these last couple episodes.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Um,
great.
it's a really cool design. I really like it. We get another Swamp Thing cameo, which I'm sure made you happy, Joey. Uh,
Always.
um, and we have Harley having to reckon with like one the fact that like just the fact that oh no she has to actually save the city. She
Hmm.
and like she takes Ivy down and it hurts her so much. Saves everybody's lives. Batgirl, like one, the Bat family has been like slowly coming around to this idea of having to reluctantly work with Harley and her crew because Bruce has gone insane.
Hmm.
Um, in some great scenes, Batgirl realizes you're a hero, Harley Quinn, and that's where we end the episode, basically with
Yeah, we end the episode on a pretty great joke that goes into the next episode. It's just Ivy
Oh,
screaming "fuck," and it ends in at the beginning of the finale. She's like "fuck," and then it's
they
just
even do a
keep going.
previously recap too.
Yeah,
I
it's great.
feel I'm so glad I didn't like I feel bad for anyone who had to watch this weekly because
I had caught up, I think fully. I think by the time another Shark the Adventure was coming out, so I had to do like the last couple episodes week to week, and that was hell.
I
So
mean great hell because that's a sign of great television.
yeah, oh
Um,
yeah, yeah, because it's so much fun. Like it it was always watching these last couple episodes week to week. It was always just the most fun like 23 minutes of my week. You know,
yeah.
such an incredibly fun
Um,
show. We go to the finale then, the Horse and the Sparrow, which is again mostly just the fallout from Jazzapajizza, and
so
it's
okay, one, Lex Luthor hacks a bunch of TVs at a Costco,
mhm.
which I, Lex is
Also,
kind of an
also, there's
idiot.
just that line too. It's like, I saw your work at Jazzapa. Yeah, I'm not saying that. That was not Lex Luthor. That was Giancarlo Esposito. I bet you.
Part of me wants to be like, no, no, Giancarlo, say the line. we want this line on tape.
Can we get Gus Fring to say Jazza Pajizza?
Also, Frank the plant believing in astrology this episode. With like, ooh, you say that and 3 people are going to compliment you today, and that becomes just the perfect running gag for the rest of this episode, of 3 strangers complimenting Ivy. But Ivy's offered to lead the Legion of Doom. Harley is still dealing with is psychologically dealing with the fact that she's codependent and like, I have to agree with my partner on everything. And Lex is like, you need to kill the Joker, who is the mayor, because of a tax that will cut into a very, like, not even a sliver
Is
of
this
Lex
because of the
Luthor's.
evil layer tax? It's 0.5%.
Again, not even a sliver of Lex Luthor's riches, which feels way too real right now.
Yeah.
So it's just like this. That's been a great commentary this season. It's like the state we're in, we would gladly accept leadership from the Joker.
Right.
And you know what? I hate to say it, I'd probably vote for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this Joker.
Not the Joker. Yes. Feel free to take that clip out of context, internet. But
yeah, I would vote the Joker as president. No.
I mean, I wouldn't vote Lex Luthor as president.
That's,
which I know is a thing that has.
If we're doing a lesser of 2 evils thing, you're right.
Am I wrong?
Yeah. Anyway.
But
yeah, it's just sorry, go ahead.
We're building up basically the climax around the premiere of the Thomas Wayne movie, which has a great title that for the life of me, my brain can't remember right now.
I forget what it is. Here we go. A Hard Wayne Falls in Gotham. It's so good. But yeah, starring Clayface and
as Billy Bob Thornton. And everyone is at this premiere. Even the Joker, who uses this premiere as an opportunity to arrest Bruce Wayne for tax fraud. Which is honestly, and like, I think what's fascinating is Bruce at the beginning of this episode wouldn't go quietly.
No.
But Bruce at the end of the episode does because of Harley's influence. And Harley also reckons with the fact that, like, she can't agree with Ivy's plan to kill the Joker. And I love that, like, there's just enough mutual respect because we're portraying an actual healthy relationship between 2 villains.
Yeah.
Like, to its fullest extent. Yeah. Also, the fact that nobody believes that Clayface was Billy Bob Thornton.
Yeah. And we end the season on the note of like Harley actually joining the Bat family. And I want to ask, what are both of your thoughts on Harley in general as a character being part of the Bat family?
So I know this isn't necessarily the most popular idea, but I really like it.
Yeah, like I'm sure you both know I'm asking it because like, it's a thing that's currently happening in comics that people are pretty pissed about.
Now, I don't know how well it's being done in comics, but in the way this show sets it up, it's done really well.
I think it's a good thing. I like it in comics. I like it here. Harley
I can see it being done badly.
That's true. I don't think
again,
it has been
I don't have
comics.
The context of what the comics are doing to
That's
set
fair.
it up.
Well, yeah.
So I will reserve my judgment on that until we cover those comics.
But I would argue that, like,
I mean, I feel like, if anything, I feel like it just kind of happened too fast. Just because, like, I can kind of see what season 4 is going to be about. Harley's a hero. Ivy's running the Legion of Doom. So
I gotcha. But like, I would say, like, in general, for the character, like, Harley's been around for over 30 years now. I'd say since we got her away from the Joker, which has been a thing that's happened since 2011, I believe. Since we've done that, like, Harley has been on her way to be becoming a full-on hero in the DC universe since then. And I think we're ready to be there. Personally, I know that's probably very controversial. I don't know who's going to hear this. Please don't come after me. I have a wife and kids. I do not. That's a lie.
No, go after him. Go after him. It'll be hilarious.
It will be hilarious. Actually, please do. At least I know people are listening. So let's.
I could see it. I think it could also open up some really interesting storytellings with the idea of reformed villains in general.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I mean, she's still murdered people and she probably has to actually repent for that. But I think there are
Yeah.
interesting things you can do, and I'd be happy to see it done. At least in terms of this show, have a plot line that I really want to see happen in season 4, like possibly done to also parallel Ivy and Harley, and just do it really well with bringing in a certain character. I'm bringing this up now.
Oh yeah, bring it up now. Yeah.
I want them to bring in Jason Todd.
Yes.
Possibly also bring in Tim Drake. I think you could do them both together because the death of Jason is why we have Tim in the first place, and their characters I think actually do work well together, just as characters. And I just need it to happen. Give us more Jason Todd. Cast Jensen Ackles. He could probably do it.
He could definitely do it.
I think expanding the Bat family would be great, especially if season 4 ends up being the last season. I hope it's not. I think there are more stories to tell.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You could. This show could go on for a very long time still.
Yes.
But anyway, let's talk about a very problematic Valentine's Day special quick, and I guess we'll start to close
which is not a description. It's the name of the episode.
I mean it's also a description.
It's interesting in the problematic ways they did it, because they were actually very smart in knowing which lines to toe, and not it never felt like they were punching down with the Valentine's Day special. They were just being really raunchy and fascinating. Also, Bane gets a dominatrix girlfriend.
Look, Bane is the best thing about this whole special.
Yes.
Yes. And Etrigan.
Oh my God, Etrigan. I forget who's the one that comments on everything rhyming and it being just really weird that everything did rhyme, or
I think it was Harley.
Was it Harley? Yeah, it's just
yeah,
it's so perfect.
Also, we have random couple interludes that are so I don't like sort of that sitcom, the mid-2000s sitcom The Office interludes of people talking to the camera.
The mockumentary format.
But it's so funny here.
It works here, mainly because it's in small doses.
Although with that, I feel like I missed a joke. Who was that supposed to be with Darkseid?
That's Talia al Ghul.
Okay.
Two power mad DC villains that I think are just thrown together for a random joke.
Yeah.
Also, I realized we didn't mention Jessica Walter was in this show as Granny Goodness.
That is true.
Oh, she is. I completely missed that because same episode, she was also Kite Man's mom.
Yes.
I'm just trying to figure out who played Etrigan. Who voiced Etrigan? Oh, John Stamos.
Wow.
Huh. I don't think I wouldn't have guessed that, But yeah, Etrigan is here and he is great. He runs a sex shop, which is a choice.
Yeah, you're right. I was gonna say it's a spell shop, but you're right.
It's Joey. It's a sex shop.
Jacob. We could be a little innocent.
Yeah, it's a spell shop, but what are most people gonna use magic for?
Yeah. Incredibly funny though. I love this whole thing. It's having such a long break from the show. I know obviously it wasn't a break for you, Jacob, because you had just caught up with the show when the thing came out. But for me, it had been a while since season 3 had ended and this came out, and it reminds me so much of just why I love this show. Just an incredibly fun ride, and Yeah,
I was also worried it wouldn't be able to sustain its pace for 45 minutes, but it really does.
Oh no, yeah, it doesn't
Um,
feel like 45 minutes.
It really doesn't. And it also doesn't feel really like two episodes like stitched together. It feels like it
No, oh
was,
no, it's all its own thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Also, again, exploring Harley and Ivy's relationship and how nice it is and how they can trust each other. Also, we go back to Mama Macaroni's.
As you should.
And Harley also, says eat the rich. Well, shoot the rich in the face and kill them.
But eat the rich.
Yes. um,
And oh god, Clayface's plot. Oh fuck.
He
Oh my
gets
fucking god.
catfished by Captain Boomerang.
And then
and
gets
this is
chopped
probably
in
the
half.
this is probably one of the more problematic elements.
He gets chopped in half and falls in love with his own ass.
Which,
And
you know what? I don't.
it's perfect.
It's perfect. Like, it works. And okay, Bane's just turnoffs are so pedantic.
I love it. Oh my god, it's so
yes.
perfect. It's so perfect for that portrayal of the character.
And you know what? I like how self-contained the episode is, while still like this couldn't happen anywhere else in the show, obviously.
Mhm.
But it also doesn't it's not like, it doesn't feel like you're necessarily missing in vital plot, but you would be missing like vital character work.
Yeah.
For something like this.
Mhm.
Also just all the cameos of all the couples.
Oh my god, yeah. I love those.
Like you see the Joker and he's happy. Kite Man and Golden Glider are happy
You see Riddler and Clock King for a second.
for a second. The
You see,
Flash
you
and
even, you even, you
Zatanna
even
for
see
some reason.
you even see Catwoman with Bruce in prison.
Yes, which is there are a lot of really nice little, and all of the couples are used or at least for recurring characters, are used for very nice little character moments, even if those character moments
what my
have
favorite
zero
interlude was?
dialogue.
You know what my favorite interlude was actually? The
Which-
the Hawkman Hawk Girl one.
Yes.
I loved that one.
Yeah,
I thought it was
it's a
great.
very problematic Valentine's Day special, and that's what it's meant to be.
Yeah,
That's
bring
why
on
it
season
works.
4. I'm so excited. I cannot wait for this thing. It's gonna
Do
be
we
great.
know when season 4 is coming?
I would assume either late this year or early next year.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I
here's
guess we'll see.
hoping. And please give us a series 5, season 5.
Please. Anyway, I guess that about does it, doesn't it?
Yes.
That is our episode on Harley Quinn. Very great. I don't know how I'm going to title this thing. Do I title it Harley Quinn the Animated Series?
I'd go with that.
Yeah.
The animated
all right,
series,
I guess you'll
seasons
find
1
out if
to
you're watching
3.
this or listening to this, wherever you're listening to it
Oh
on.
yeah, that's
Yeah, I don't know. Oh yeah, I guess to specify what we're talking about. So seasons 1 through 3. Anyway,
Yes.
I guess that about does it. Marcus, thank you so much for coming on the podcast again. It's great to have you back on.
always a joy.
Yeah. We're definitely gonna have you on again in the future, as always.
Yes.
Are
We need to get you on a numbered episode as well.
We do.
Yeah.
I need to have you read something sometime soon.
Yes.
Yeah, we gotta get on that. Anyway, thank you guys so much for listening. It really means a lot. I'll leave Marcus your Twitter and YouTube linked in the description below. I'll have both of those down there. I'll have Jacob and my own link trees down in the description below. You can go check us out there. And I guess that about does it. Check out other things on the channel. We have Breaking Brian. We have the Star Trek videos. The rest of Fresh Face Comics. It's all out there.
Yeah, we're as this is released, we are in the middle of the Nightfall saga, which is
Yes. Yeah.
It's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot.
But incredibly fun, I hope. We haven't actually recorded anything from it yet, but we have finished reading volume 1, so
Yes.
we're 600 odd pages down. So,
yes. And for me, 900 odd pages down.
Look, you did not need to read the fucking Omni.
Yeah, but I'm actually kind of glad I did.
Well, fuck you. Anyway, all right. Thank you all so much for listening. Until next time, this has been Joey Morgan
And Jacob Licklider.
And Marcus Cotton.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.